Hey, everybody, I'm Leon Thomas, the co host of Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. That's Juan Tamayo, our guest for today. Hey, Juan, how are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me, Leon.
Good. I'm excited to have a great conversation with you. Now, you're here because you know Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch, the other host of the show. But since she's not here today, I'm sure you have a story or two that would be funny about her. Right now, just give us a yes or no. You do have a funny story to share about her, right?
I think I can whip one up.
All right, great. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later on. It's great to have you here. Folks, I want to remind you you can watch Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat every Thursday at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. with replays going throughout the remainder of the week. You can also listen to Checking In, a Lodging DEI chat on the Leon Thomas Group Radio Network. So you're probably asking, how do I get to the radio network? Well, let me tell you. If you go to our website, the Leon Thomas Group, there's a button right at the top in the top menu that says listen live. And you can go there to listen to all the shows that we have on the Leon Thomas Group network. And the thing we're most proud of at the Leon Thomas Group is that we provide opportunities for students and recent graduates to gain experience. And with that experience, they are armed to go out and have great careers. All right, let's talk to our guest, Juan Tamayo, here with our guest today on Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. Juan, thanks a lot for being with us. Tell us what you do now and give us the short version of your path that got you to where you were, and then we'll talk details about some of the things you've experienced on your way up to where you are now. Go ahead, Juan.
Certainly. Thank you again for having me. I think my story is probably a little bit boring and you've heard it before. But I am new to Philadelphia, live here now, and I am a consultant. I have my own company with my business partner, Erica Solano. And I say it's a story that you've heard before because it's, I kind of grew up with that mentality that you work really hard and you achieve all the goals. You get everything that you need to get done. You're a good student, you're a good worker, you'll rise up the ranks, and eventually you'll be happy. And eventually you have a great life, that white picket fence mentality, right? And I achieved a lot of those things throughout. And then I realized I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting burned out. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm getting extra tired. I don't know if I'm really making the best decisions. And that's when I kind of had to kind of go back within myself and say, what do I really want to do?
Uh-huh.
Who I really want to be. And thankfully, my life has kind of brought me in a way where I can have my own consulting company, which means that I can choose the people that I work with, which means that I
Yeah.
can choose the partners that I have, which means that
Mhm.
I can choose the training that I do, the times when I
Yeah.
work, who are my clients. Um, and I'm so grateful to have been able to find my life calling by 31. But
Right
that was
on.
really
Good for you.
scary, to dive
Yeah.
into it. But it's
Right.
exciting um, to see so many potential paths for the future.
Yeah, good for you. Now, I like the one thing that you just talked about. You said, "I can choose," right? And you went down the line, right? I can choose, I can choose, I can choose. There are so many folks that don't have those options in their life,
Hmm.
right? That because of whatever the reasons are, we could have a full weekly series about those reasons, but you've
Yes.
set yourself up so that you can have those options. So that's a great feeling. It seems like you're very pleased and comfortable in the space that you're in now.
And I'm not going to lie to you, it's terrifying. It's scary because while I do have those choices, we also don't have a weekly, bi weekly, beautiful check coming in
Hmm.
from a company coming in. So I really do
Okay.
believe that it takes a lot of courage. And
Yeah.
what me and my business partner keep talking, I mean, you're doing the same thing. All the entrepreneurs are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
as far as having that belief in yourself and having that courage in yourself to know that we're not doing this for next week's paycheck. We're doing this for my life and my career in 5 years, in 6 years,
Yeah.
in 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Setting ourselves up for the life that we don't need to escape from.
Uh-huh. Now tell me about some of the consulting work you do. Tell me about that. Tell me about your business.
Great. So my background has been, it started in food and beverage, at least in the hospitality world. Before that, I was actually a high school Spanish teacher. So I was 21 years old. I did good in college. They brought me in. My first day of teaching was in Jacksonville, Florida. And I had about 50 kids in my classroom. They were 14 to 19 years old. And I was 21-year-old, really figuring it out. And for 2 years, I grew and I figured out how to synthesize and to teach and learn and how to captivate an audience and how to, stand up in front of a classroom. And I was a
Yeah.
kid teaching other
Uh-huh.
kids.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first time I really saw inequities in this country from a third point perspective, like systematic
Mhm.
inequity. I mean, I'm a gay Cuban immigrant, so we face our personal things, but in the professional world, as a 21-year-old, this is the first time I experienced any of that. Um, and I left because I knew teaching kids wasn't for me. Some people have the patience and they
Uh-huh.
have the love and they have all of that. And I tried my best. I just knew it wasn't fulfilling and I was getting burned out.
Right.
So I went to Miami where I met Dr. Kitterling and where I got my master's in hospitality management. I was an intern at Hard Rock. And then from there, I stepped up from intern to so I started as a host, then as an intern, then I was assistant manager, then I ended up being the executive assistant to the F&B team.
Yeah.
And I learned so much from them. And I was like, I want to be in the hospitality world. And they put me into a leadership class at Hard Rock. And I saw the HR team doing training. And they trained us on leadership skills and all of these things of becoming a more equipped leader and leading with empathy and all of those things. And I said, oh my gosh, I can do this. This is something that I can. It's teaching, it's hospitality, it's filling my cup. And
Yeah.
I got so excited and I became so filled with tunnel vision that I said, that's what I'm meant to do for the rest of my life. So then I applied for a few jobs. I didn't get them. Because like you have no experience. And now a lot of jobs are looking, you work with college students, a lot of jobs are looking for 20 years experience,
Mhm.
15 years experience, like when I wasn't born.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah. We want they say, right? Here's what I hear them saying. We want people that are young. We want new ideas, right? I hear them say we want minorities, right? And oh, by the way, we want a ton of experience. Like the math just doesn't add up,
Isn't that mathing?
right? It doesn't go. But then our students also experience this. We want a demonstration of your work. Check.
Okay.
We want you to show that you can do. Check. We want this. Check, check, check. But then the minority students never get that opportunity. And I see other students get opportunities, and I'm like, they don't check any of these. They don't have the demonstrated experience. They don't have the portfolio to show. Why are they getting these positions?
It's
And
access. I think DEI, we
yes.
talk about a lot of things, but the access to even curate that portfolio, the access to even have those conversations with the leaders, the access to be in the same room as people who can give you a helping hand, that's not given to everybody.
Hmm.
And even if you fight for it, it might be 5 years before you even get a chance. And that
Yeah.
chance might be 15 minutes long.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So thank you for bringing that up. It's hard, and I think
Yeah.
it's maybe near impossible now to get a job without knowing somebody. And I met so many people, especially during COVID in particular. Some people had a job they loved, they lost it because they
Hmm.
were relying on a company. Over 2 million employees left the hospitality world during COVID. Right. I can
Hmm.
send you the articles on that if you probably have it already. Um, But these people went on to being entrepreneurs or consultants or coaches or something because they knew that the only person they could really rely on is themselves, which is
Right.
one thing I am really grateful for seeing in different minority spaces. There's people in minority killing it because instead of trying to sit at a table, they flipped that table and started a whole new one themselves. They're
That's
sitting
right.
in rooms with people that they want to sit in. And
Yeah.
it's that choice and it's that empowerment that is going to build a better future, I believe. You
Hmm.
know, it's I think we can see it now with everything going on in universities across the country. I don't want to dive into that too much, but we can see how students are stepping up so
Hmm.
confidently and without that politeness of this is proper that we see in hospitality where a lot of times like
Yeah.
fake politeness, right? I'm not going to say what I think, but I'm going to maintain this demeanor so we can all keep a peaceful thing. I think right now, I know this quote is a little bit overused, but if we're not angry, we're not paying attention, right?
Hmm.
And I don't think anger is bad. I think it can be fueled to meeting and managing all of our other emotions. I think anger can lead to joy and to freedom. And I think anger can lead to passion. Um, and but growing up, we're not taught about emotional intelligence.
Right. Right. We're not.
We're
We're
taught
not
in the
thought about it.
hospitality world, leave your emotions at the door. Whatever happens outside, handle it.
Yeah, don't bring your personal life here, but
Hmm.
you're going to be here when, particularly when you first
For
start
eight
in
to ten
hospitality.
hours at
You're going to
least.
be here eight to 10, and you're going to get to know each other, and we're going to have meetings about let's get to know each other and the importance of building relationships. But don't bring your personal life in here,
No. Your
right? Don't
girlfriend broke
bring
up
it
with
here.
you? Deal with that after you leave.
Deal
Your
with
dog
it.
died?
Yeah,
Deal with it later.
yeah,
You just got evicted
right,
from your house. That's not the time to discuss this now. Right
right,
now,
right.
I need you to check this guest in.
But
And
here's the thing though that I'm so proud of you for. You are now you have flipped it. You have your own table now. Where as your consulting business with you and your partner continues to grow, you will be able to help others make it, right? You're a story now that others can look at, right? Where they can say, I'm a Cuban immigrant just like him, right? I can make it, and you can show them how to do it. Think about that. You're sitting in a great spot, Juan.
I'm very grateful and I'm full of appreciation for the people who have helped me, get here. And also, without trying to seem too cocky, for myself for having the courage to not just do what
Yeah.
I've seen everyone else done, right? And I don't think I'm here to pave the way for anyone. I'm here to create spaces where we can have meaningful conversation, spaces where we can have unfiltered conversations, because their way is their way, and they're gonna pave it themselves in this form that I could have never imagined because I didn't grow up with their dreams and their beliefs. But I think part of the coaching that I love to do, part of what I would like to work with teams and leaders on, is that finding your own voice, creating spaces where they can really connect.
Yeah.
A lot of it's not okay when a group of 3 or 4 people make the decisions that's going to impact thousands and thousands of people. Or
Hmm.
even if you look at a hotel, how an executive board can make a decision that's going to impact 500, 600 team members without a dialogue, without a conversation. There's no way that those people are the smartest in the room.
Hmm.
And if they are, they need different rooms, right?
Right.
Like, I think the idea that the people here know enough to make the decisions that could impact everyone is very arrogant,
Right. Yeah.
right? And we don't have systems. And going back to access, right? A lot of hotels don't have systems in ways that they can listen to their people. Some people have round tables, they have meeting spaces, but sometimes who taught these middle managers how to lead those round tables? Where's the research behind that? Um, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think sometimes people feel invisible, so they just do the bare minimum, and then everyone else kind of thinks that they
Hmm.
don't know what they're doing, so they
Yeah.
dismiss them.
They
But
dismiss
it's
them.
a
Yeah.
cycle.
That's right.
Have you
And think,
experienced that as a GM?
oh
Sorry.
yeah, let me tell you something, some of the things that I've experienced. One of the questions that we sometimes ask on this show is, growing up in the business, how many minority managers, general managers did you see? Okay.
Mm,
And for me, the answer is zero, right?
mm,
I'm the first black general manager of a hotel that I know. My first hotel conference, right? A Hilton conference way back when,
mm,
right? I saw a lot of Asians, right?
mm.
That the Asian American Hotel Association, right? I saw a lot of representation there. I saw white representation, and I'm kind of looking around. No, where's the black GM?
That's
Where
you.
are they, right? And it's me and a handful of others, and so it was like, hey, how you doing? Where do you work? How you, all of that, right? Then, as I worked with a hotel corporation, right? One of the things that I saw was this. I saw department managers who said they wanted to do the right thing in terms of diversity, but they
Mm,
weren't supported up the line. And
that part.
because they didn't receive that support, they stopped with their talk of diversity. Something else that you hear is companies talk the game, particularly in 2020 when we were in COVID and the murder of George Floyd and all of those
Mhm.
things. How many times did you saw companies, we're into diversity, we're going to treat our black employees better, we're going to treat our Hispanic employees better. I mean, on and on and on and on and on. 4 years later, there's nothing. What did we
Where are
do?
we? Hmm.
Right? Have you noticed any significant changes in that 4-year period?
I mean, for me, it was a bit of a different story because I was working on a cruise ship when the pandemic
Okay.
happened.
Oh wow.
So before the pandemic, I was a learning and development consultant for cruise ships. So I was doing all the leadership training, all the service excellence trainings, a lot of those things. And the pandemic happened, and we ended up getting stuck on the ship. So we were there for about 4 or 5 months without guests. So doing all the protocols, doing everything we are supposed to be doing, and coming back to the ships, I was part of the team that helped was like, you know, 20 people, 70 people to 700 within a week, right? And at times I was in the kitchens doing lunches for people to deliver for the rooms. The reason I'm bringing this up is because on the ships, I was one of 5 Americans, and I don't consider myself fully or only American. Um, and everyone else is from different countries, India, Indonesia, a lot of Europe. In that moment, Ukraine, Russia, right? During all of those things happening. Um, and so discrimination and racism, it was different, but on a ship, you already know, you kind of come in with a more open mind. You see racism in a different ways. Um,
Mhm.
and in between, I was in Hawaii in this like spiritual retreat thing. Um, so I got to be able to be more in tune with my emotions and myself, and that really helped not getting so angry, and
Yeah.
that really helped managing my moods and my emotions. And then coming back to the hotel world, a lot of it, like you said, were programs that were half executed sometimes, that like people with really good ideas, but either there wasn't enough budget, or there wasn't enough this or manpower or support or time, because we were short staffed or this or that, and then they never really took off that I've seen.
Mhm. 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 You mentioned the programs, right? We've had guests on this show and others that the Leon Thomas Group produces, where companies have initiatives and programs where it's attend this 1 or 2 day training, and there's no follow up, and there's no accountability, right? So it's learning supposedly, but it's not sticking because no one is supporting it, no one is mandating, no one is making sure that things happen. And a couple of friends that work in the hotel business, we had a discussion earlier this week around this, is that when the big boss, whatever level that is, decides that something's going to happen, they're really focused on making sure that it happens. So if they say, we want to increase sales by 20%, all of their narratives are about increasing sales by 20%, and they're beating people up to get that 20% increase in sales. And they say that that was the talk earlier, but it's no longer there when it comes to diversity, equity, and inclusion, that it's just not there. There's these programs and check boxes. So let me ask you this, because I want to ask you this question, then we're going to take a quick break to look at some of the video work and commercials that some of the students with the Leon Thomas group have worked on. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Dr. Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch. We'll talk about her in a second, but here's the question. What do you think needs to happen overall, Juan, in some big things, big picture, to improve the access for everyone in the hospitality industry? What needs to happen to give everyone more access for growth?
I think more people's voices need to be heard, and these strategies shouldn't be looked as a program. It should be looked as, this is part of our leadership vision. This is just what we do. With learning and development and DEI, that should report directly to the CEO, to the GM, not under. Sometimes I feel like it's like an extracurricular. Like if you think about college and things, DEI feels like an extracurricular, something extra that we get to do so our team members can feel better.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is a strategic business decision. It takes a lot. It's a lot more expensive for people to hire somebody than to keep somebody and retain them. So why do you want your people to not feel safe with you? And I don't think anyone's doing it on purpose. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anyone goes in and says, I'm going to mess all of this up. I'm just saying that from inception of the hospitality industry, which honestly has roots from slavery, right? Like the history of servitude, like it really transcends if we just go all the way back. So based on a system that's archaic and based on white supremacy, to be honest. So as leaders in the industry, kind of goes back to the point of, we're not supposed to sit at this table, we're supposed to flip it. And when we see Black hotel owners or Latino hotel owners or female CEOs or these people that are working so hard to change it, but still within the system. And it's so hard because I love this industry and I love the system, and I met so many inspired leaders who are trying to do the right thing. But I think the system, when you look at a super macro lens, it doesn't always allow for the right thing with wages, with restaurant wages, with the tipping. People are worried about feeding their families.
Right. I think you hit on a phrase that, if it's okay with you, I'm going to start using. It's not an extracurricular. It's not an extracurricular. This has to be something that we do. You're watching Checking Inn-A Lodging DEI Chat. I'm Leon Thomas here with our guest today, Juan Tamayo. We're talking about diversity in the hotel business. We're going to take a brief break to look at some of the commercials that students, interns, and recent grads with Leon Thomas Group have produced. And when we come back, we're going to get Juan to tell us a funny story about Dr. Kitterlin-Lynch, and then we're going to ask the two signature questions of the show. You're watching Checking In-A Lodging DEI Chat.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear, because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water. Animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
Hey, welcome back to Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat. I'm Leon Thomas, the co-host of the show. Our other host, Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch, is not with us today, but she's with us in spirit. And we're going to talk about her in a second. I don't know if that's right to say we're going to talk about her. We're going to share a story about her in a second. Our guest is Juan Tamayo, an industry consultant. You can watch Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat every Thursday at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. on these same channels that you're looking at it now. And you can also listen to Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat on the Leon Thomas Group Radio Network. You get there by going to the Leon Thomas Group website, theleonthomasgroup.com, clicking on the button that says Listen Now. Juan, thanks for being with us today. We've had a great conversation. We're going to shift gears a little. Tell us a funny story about Dr. Miranda Kitterlin-Lynch. Go ahead, tell us a funny story about her.
So picture this. It was my first class at FIU with her, Organization Development and Change. And I asked a question or something, and I say, Miss Kitterlin, and then she just looks at me. And she's like, who? And I'm like, Mrs. Kitterlin? And then she's like, no. My name is Dr. Kitterlin, and I worked really hard for this title, and I am never going to forget that. I love how she corrected me. From that moment, I came from, teaching high school, so everyone said Mr., Mrs., this, and she really put me in my place, and I found it hilarious. I was like, who is this woman? And she is so confident, and I love it. And what else is this class going to be? So I'm not sure it was funny, but it was the beginning of a beautiful relationship. She became my mentor. Just like 2 weeks, I was doing a pitch, and I said, hey, can I call you? And can you review this pitch for me? And she became my advisor for my thesis as I was working that in FIU. And she texts me every day on my birthday, every year on my birthday. And that is so sweet. I really
wait, hold, what? You get a text from her on your birthday?
I do. I think it's on her calendar.
Oh, Miranda, what's up? I don't get a text on my birthday. What?
Maybe next year.
Oh, Juan, tell me more. Tell me more that I can use. Go ahead. So you get a text on your birthday.
I do.
I don't. Miranda.
You also get a text on her birthday.
So now I have to text her on her birthday. Oh.
Yes, but
why do you have to tell me that? But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, she's just one of those inspiring leaders, and those are the people that I want to work for. People who I want to consult with and partner with in this project, because one, they know their worth. They know that she worked really hard for that title and for her degree and for everything.
Yeah.
And it's so inspiring seeing people standing in their power.
Yeah.
And so I was just very grateful, for that. And I'm very grateful that she's in my life and that she introduced us and that you spend time to chat with me today.
Yeah, that is great to hear. What you just talked about, her ability to maintain relationships with others, the value that she's added to others' lives. That's a theme that I continue to hear over and over again from former students and colleagues that we have here on the show and others that I've met through other avenues. And it's just great. I'm really just blessed to be associated with her, and I value our relationship a great deal. And to hear you say things like that about her just reinforces it for others. Juan, we have only 4 minutes remaining in the show, and in the last 4 minutes, we do our two signature questions of the show. Juan, grab a pen, pencil, or something. Go ahead and grab it. Grab a pen or pencil. If you don't have one nearby because you're a tech guy, just act like you do. Hold it up and I'm right in front of your camera. And what I'd like you to do on the count of three, I want you to go ahead and do your signature. Draw your signature. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The signature questions of the show. Here's the first signature question, Juan. Have you ever had a Maryland crab cake?
I have not.
Have not had a Maryland crab cake. All right. Now you're in Philadelphia. I'm in Baltimore, 90 miles away. Our producer that's working today is Dr. Jay Rasenko. We'll have to figure out a way for us to get together to have so you can have a real and authentic Maryland crab cake.
I'll
All right.
drive over next week.
We'll make that happen. We'll make that happen. So that question came up because we had someone as a guest on the show and we started talking about crab cakes. I said, "Where'd you get a crab cake?" They told us some barbecue joint in Kansas City. Like, stop, shut up. You ain't get a crab cake period in Kansas City. Just get off my show. Get off the show. Okay. Here's the next question though. If you were to talk to your 20-year-old self, if the you today were to talk to you when you were 20, what advice would you offer?
Learn to invest now.
Okay. Learn to invest. And what type are you talking? Financial investing or career development investing? What are you talking about specifically when you say invest?
I mean, financially, because growing up, single Cuban mom, that's not something we talked about in our family,
Hmm.
and I didn't have access to people who talked about that and who taught
Yeah.
me the way, so people can follow their dreams often because they have a financial lifeline and backing.
Hmm.
So if I were to talk to my 20-year-old self, I'm
Yeah.
grateful for everything that's been through and stuff, but there are just some things that we really aren't talking to our kids about
Yeah.
when they're young, and then it puts them in really difficult situations as they get older. It
Hmm.
forces them into sticking with jobs that they're not passionate about and
Yeah.
sticking them in safe places
Hmm.
that they can't really get out of, and that's a shame,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I like it. Thank you. That's one from excuse me, in this show, there are going to be so many people that watch this episode of Checking In a Lodging DEI Chat that are going to learn so much, and they're going to be inspired by you. And that may not be your intent of inspiration, but I'm telling you, you are providing it. You are providing it. So thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
thank you so much for having me. And I know maybe this wasn't the most like DEI businessy podcast chat. For me, I'm really passionate about having courage to be yourself and having courage to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at creating and delivering training, even though we kind of got
And
offline.
Yeah, no, this was a great show. Now let's make sure that folks know how to get in touch with you. So you're probably on LinkedIn, so they can search you on LinkedIn, but also your email address is there. Why don't you go ahead and give everyone? I want them to verbally hear you give your email address, and then we'll wrap up.
Perfect. It's Juan.Tamayo at ericasolana.com. Erica Solana is my business partner. And together we're just full of appreciation for our luck in the world.
All right,
And
great. Thank you. Thank you. So folks, contact Juan. Just a great episode of the show. Juan, we're so grateful and thankful for you to be with us today here on Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat. And folks, remember, you can always watch our show wherever you're watching it now, every Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. and 4 p.m. with replays throughout the day. You can also go to the Leon Thomas Group website and click on the Listen Live, and you hear all the shows that the Leon Thomas Group has on our radio network. And you can also search on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it is, just search for Checking In, a Lodging DEI Chat, and episodes of our show will be there. Thank you again for watching Checking In, the Lodging DEI Chat.